Good afternoon, folks. I am off from work today, and I have a lot of stuff to do around the old homestead, but we have to talk for a few minutes. So, in case you hadn't noticed, Donald Trump is suddenly all in on IVF. But let's talk about what that means, because guess what? That's gaslighting of the highest order. What Donald Trump is trying to do here, now that he's absolutely terrified of what Kamala Harris is doing across this nation, is he's trying to get the women's vote on a bigger scale, okay? We know there are some unfortunate miscreants who are female out there who support Donald Trump. I can't figure it out. It's got to be self-loathing or lack of self-respect, whatever it is, it matters not. Donald Trump needs more than those women. But he is gaslighting everyone here in America, because Donald Trump is actually trying to thread the needle and redefine what women's reproductive rights look like. So according to Donald Trump, we want to just forget all about Roe. Forget all about that. Because that whole abortion thing, that's got nothing to do with, being healthcare or being about reproductive rights. Only birthing is about reproductive rights. So he's all in on IVF now because, as he said it, and this is what he said, he wants to produce more babies. So, ladies, you are nothing more than a factory. You are nothing more than a sperm bank. That's what you are. He'll happily take away every other right that you have as long as you can produce babies. And better still, he wants the government to pay for all of it. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I paid out of pocket for a very large portion of my second child, because that was all done through IVF over 2 years. And I'm doubting that Donald Trump will even institute that. I'm sorry, but we have a man whose word is about as reliable as gas station Sushi here. And anyone believing him certainly needs some kind of help that I certainly can't provide. I'm not a professional that way. Let's talk about this, because this is unacceptable. Accepting this on its face is going back. And we have already stated that we are not going back. And I think that is a very big and good motto for the Harris campaign. We are not going back. Donald Trump wants to give women the rights that he thinks they should have, but not the rights that we are granted and guaranteed under the Constitution. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that falls under a myriad of things. Okay? Donald Trump is not concerned about women in America, nor is he concerned about children in America. He's concerned about getting votes now for November, because he's fallen behind in almost every swing state now. Donald Trump is a viper and an opportunist and nothing more. He is not a president. He is not a leader. And he does not care about children. I'd like to remind you, when the Republican Party had the chance to cross the aisle and guarantee IVF to every woman in America, they refused. I would also like to remind you that the GOP killed the child tax credit, which had lifted millions of children out of poverty. They plunged them right back in. I'd like to remind you that the GOP that cares so much about families and children refuses to address mass shootings. What do you think is the number one killer of youth and teenagers in America? It isn't car accidents. It isn't drugs. It's guns. It's shootings. The GOP is responsible for the fact, solely responsible for the fact, that this nation is one of the only developed nations that does not offer guaranteed maternity leave, guaranteed paid maternity leave. Okay? I'd like to remind you that Project 2025 will get rid of Head Start, which is a lifeline for most low-income families and children. And they will disband the Department of Education. Why? Not because the teachers in America are doing such a bad job, but because they want to control the narrative, and they will do so by destroying the public school system in America, and controlling the narrative through private Christian schools. In Oklahoma, right now, in the public school system, the superintendent is requiring that the Bible be taught and that the 10 Commandments be posted, in direct violation of the First Amendment to the Constitution. And by the way, if they're so concerned with unwanted pregnancies in young adults and teenagers, perhaps they'd support comprehensive sex education through the school system, but they don't want that either. So let's all understand exactly where we are here. We're looking at a man who is desperate for power, desperate to win in November, and is now looking desperately for the woman's vote. Don't fall for this. He's a lying sack of shit. The man told 30,573 documented lies in his first term, and I am sure he has eclipsed that total since he has left office. Donald Trump is unfit for the presidency on many levels. And women's rights are right at the top of that list. I will talk to you all later.